If you're watching this video right now, I imagine you're going through a lot of changes in your life, a lot of changes in the way you see the world, the way you see yourself, and you're probably seeking something. Are you a seeker? A seeker of wisdom, a seeker of truth, a seeker of purpose? You probably have a strong sense of purpose and you want clarity on it. What is that going to look like? What am I supposed to do? Not many people ask themselves that exact question. What am I supposed to do? You know, you're here on earth for a good reason, and you might not know what that is. This video is for Lightworkers, people who have indeed come here to the planet to offer something fairly specific, a type of service, a type of energy, a type of message to do one important thing, and that is to uplift people, uplift humanity, uplift the planet. You came to share light. Now, I know this sounds crazy. It sounded out there when I first heard it as well. I first learned about this from a book called The 3 Waves of Volunteers by a famous hypnotist named Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon began taking people into what's known as their past lives, these past life regressions she would do back in the 60s. And over time, she perfected this technique that has come to be called the qhht technique, quantum healing hypnosis technique. And this would take people beyond their past lives. It would take them to where this woman could communicate essentially with the person's soul. And around, I believe, the 90s or the early 2000s, all different types of people from all over the world were saying the same wild things. They were telling the same wild tale. And the tale was the earth, the planet, the people, it's not doing so good. It's in trouble. And out there in the higher realms, there was a call put out, a call to help, a call to go in and help the earth, help the people, help the planet from within. So all these different souls, some of them are angelic beings, as weird as that sounds, really old souls, people carriers of wisdom, a lot of depth to them. Some souls that have never even come to the planet, extraterrestrials even, all these different types of souls were like, I'm in. How can I help? Okay, well, here's the deal. You're going to go into Earth. You're going to forget all of what you are. You're going to forget what this whole mission's about, but you'll come to a point in your life where you're going to start to remember. You're going to start to remember why you came. Start to remember why you're here, and then begin doing your light work. And that's probably where you are at right now, if I had to guess, if you're watching this video. And if you're watching this video, you're in the right place, because I'm going to share with you different signs that you are a light worker. And in knowing these signs, you're going to understand that you're not crazy. You're actually a very special person who's here to do a very special thing. And my intention for this video is to help you remember who you are and why you are here. Welcome to the channel, my friend. If I have not said, my name is Victor Oddo, and it's a pleasure to have you, and I'll see you inside. Much love. Sign number 1, you know you're different. I know everybody likes to think they're different. We all are different and unique, obviously, in some way. You know you're different. You look around at people and you know there's something unique, something different, not special, not better, not worse, but different about you. You might feel like you can't even quite express who you really are. You might feel like you don't feel like you would be accepted if you really were to voice the things, the thoughts, the ideas that spin around in your mind, your thoughts on life, your thoughts on reality, just the different things you see in people and situations. You keep a lot of it probably to yourself because you can just, you know it's not going to go over well. You know it's not going to be understood. It might even be heavily resisted. In fact, you may have tried in the past to express your truth very authentically and clearly, and it was shot down, judged, ridiculed, laughed at, etc. Sign number 2, you are very sensitive to energy, very sensitive to other people's emotions, very sensitive to the energy of anything, people, places, situations, even ideas, even movies and things of that nature. You feel like you don't have a lot of walls that separate you, meaning your psyche, from the underlying energetics of the various things within your life. And if you consume too much of this bad, heavy energy, whether it's from people or whatever, you feel it. You start to carry it. You start to experience external energies as if it was your own. And this bizarre circumstance is probably even getting more pronounced. You've probably been like that most of your life. I know I used to be. I know I used to wake up in the middle of the night wondering why I was so terrified. Now I know kids, of course, are afraid of the dark, but I would literally sort of have this like knowing that there's other things in my room besides my stuffed animals. There's energies, sometimes spirits, sometimes they're nice, sometimes I don't know if I care, I don't know if I trust their intentions. And all this is going on from this young kid. And who do you talk about with this? Sensitive. You're sensitive to the moment, sensitive to everything. And when you think there's something wrong with you, like I did, I thought there was something wrong with me. So at one point when I was older, I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed. I took this questionnaire and there was 10 questions on it. And I scored 6 out of 10. And the doctor was like, oh, well, you're obviously bipolar, son. Here's some Lamictal, which is like a anti-seizure medication that made me numb and sleepy. and that was like Western society's solution for this thing, this sensitivity that I couldn't explain. No one at that point could explain it. But regardless, it was there. The sensitivity led me to use drugs as a coping mechanism. The drugs, heroin in particular, as intense as that might sound to you, that was the only thing that made me feel normal, that quieted the angst, the energy I felt. No one taught me how to use my sensitivity. No one taught me it was a gift. I know you might feel like it's a burden, but it's a gift. It's awareness. Let me ask you this. Can you tell if someone's lying to you? I know you can. You might not know why they're lying, but you know if they're lying. You can sense whether someone's words are in alignment with what they're actually feeling or not. And the crazy thing is, a lot of people don't even know they're lying because they're also lying to themselves. And you're sitting here witnessing this whole thing, wondering like, what do you do? How do you have a real relationship? Where do you go from here? So, sensitivity, my friend. Your sensitivity is a blessing. And yeah, it might make you feel alone. And yeah, it took me years to like learn how to manage it, learn how to sort of like thicken up my skin in a healthy way and sort of block out some of the input that I used to just kind of allow in. But in the end, sensitivity, love it or hate it, it allows you to make wise choices and also skip a lot of unnecessary like lag time. What I mean by that, you could show up to a job interview and everything on paper is picture perfect, but you'll have this sort of psychic sense that this is not good for me. I don't know why, but I just know this is not good for me. And you can avoid yourself maybe months of giving it a fair chance because you know right then and there, due to your sensitivity, that this is not for you for some reason. And if you ignore that, you best believe there'll come an instance where you find out exactly why you had that feeling in the first place. It reminds me of when I was early in my spiritual awakening. I had a spiritual awakening in my early 20s. And I went through this phase where a lot of people go through, actually. I now call it the hermit phase. The hermit phase, real quickly, is when you are basically feeling called to not really work, not really go out in public all that much, and to go inward and explore your spirituality, go through different healings and things of that nature. But usually when people find themselves in this circumstance, they start panicking and thinking, I need to be doing more. I need to be doing something. I need to be working. I need to be doing this. And that same thing happened to me. Now, and at that time I was into fitness. So I went to LA Fitness, this local gym, to become a personal trainer, to be out of fear of running out of money, essentially. But anyway, I got up to this desk and I remember the manager, he had his back to me and he was sitting in one of those those chairs that spun. And once I was like, excuse me, Victor here for the interview. He spun around, and the second, I'm telling you, the millisecond I saw this man, nothing wrong with him in particular, but I just knew he's not for me. This job's not for me. This whole scene, it's not right. I came here out of fear. I need to get the heck out of Dodge. I knew that in 1 millisecond. How did you know? I don't know. There were no thoughts. It was this sensitivity. I could feel it. I could feel the vibes. I could sense the energy. I could sense the degree of the situation's compatibility with me in this moment where I'm at on my journey. And I could just feel this is off. That's a pretty insane thing to just say. But all what I said, to most people, they think that's crazy. Well, what's this guy even talking about? But if you're here, I bet you agree. I bet you understand this. I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe this person's a light worker. No, just kidding. Point number 3. Number 3 is very similar to what I just got done saying. You have a very strong intuition, but we're going to go into a different route with this. Do you or do you not? Let me just ask you. Do you make big decisions based upon your intuition? I bet you do. And I bet you question it a lot too. And I bet even other people question it too, which makes you question it even more. Some of the things I've done, man, so many people that would know me, they would just scratch their heads dumbfounded. Oh, there's Victor doing this crazy ass thing again. For example, one of the things that my intuition guided me to do, not once, but twice, was to sell not only my house, but all the belongings in my house and move not just me, but my entire family, children, pets, wife, into a travel trailer, an RV, and go off almost aimlessly into the unknown. All because I had a knowing it's what I was to do next. And people would ask, well, why are you doing this? And I would just make up stuff, honestly, because I knew I had no answer that was going to satisfy people's curiosity. I didn't know why, but I knew I had to do it because I've learned, and I bet you have as well, that whenever I listen to my intuition and truly follow it, even though a lot of times it is hard, it does require a lot of courage, and it does sometimes take me into unexpected places, I've learned it always works out. I always benefit in the end, usually more than I can even imagine, by following my intuition. I bet you have that as well. Your intuition won't leave you alone. I bet you find it difficult not to follow your intuition. I don't know about you, but my intuition is fairly persistent. It will bug me. It will come at me at night when it's quiet. No matter what I do to suppress it, ignore it, and just straight up say no, I suffer. There's actual suffering. There's this internal dissonance, internal discord, and also things start to go poorly in my life when I don't listen to my intuition. It's not always easy. Number 4, you might find yourself at times drawn to different spiritual healing modalities like Reiki, crystals, aura readings. I know years ago, back in 2016, I literally woke up one day with this strong knowing I should get a past life regression. I remember thinking why? And at that time I was pretty esoteric minded. By that time I've been down the rabbit hole more than once, and I studied all sorts of crazy shit, and I was open to the idea for sure, but I found myself curious, why do I feel so strongly I need to do this? And sure enough, I Googled it, past life regression near me, and there was a place just down the road actually, and it was mind-blowing. It was a qhht session actually, and it was so profoundly healing. And I can't explain to you why it works but I know when I walked out of that session, I felt lighter. I felt free. I felt more like myself. And that's kind of the cool thing about energy work. I think our science currently is unable to really see how it works. So therefore it's not valid in a lot of people's eyes, but your own subjective experience is really all you have. I know it worked. I don't care if you tell me it doesn't work. I feel better. I feel happier. I feel more like myself. I feel more free of my past. And that's me in past life regressions. Might be you in something else. Might be you in putting crystal grids around your room. Your mom and dad might think, what's the point of putting rocks around your room? What is that going to do? I don't know, mom, dad, but I sleep better. I have better dreams. It's you. There's something to this. There's a part of you beneath the mind or beyond the mind that has this knowing that there's something to this and it will benefit me. And there'll be times when applicable, that you will just naturally find yourself just like intrigued and drawn to it, drawn to the local stone and crystal shop, drawn to someone who you just meet, at the mall that does Reiki, and you'll be able to really uplift your energy and get a lot of good spiritual progress, you could say, emotional clearing, etc., from entertaining these nudges you get from time to time. This next sign is just one word. It's loneliness. You probably feel very alone in the world. You might have a lot of friends, a lot of people in your life, a busy life perhaps, a lot of buddies, and yet you feel alone because there's a part of you you're not sharing, you're not expressing. There's a part of you that's living in the dark. And you want so badly to find the person or group of people, the soulmate, that you can truly feel free and authentic around, but maybe it hasn't happened yet. And I know I went through this, my friend. I went through many years. The further I went in my spirituality, the more friends started dropping off. The more people that were once in my life started kind of just for one reason or another, would just not be there. And I found myself at one point in my early 30s with 0 friends. And I'm very blessed. I have a wonderful family, beautiful children, an amazing wife who really is cool and hip. And I know some people don't have that, and I am grateful. But I was still lonely. I still felt like there's a big part of my life that's missing. I had no guy friends. I needed someone to do guy stuff with or whatever. And there was nobody. And that went on for a long time, so long that I got to a point where I just kind of accepted that I guess I just am not meant to have friends, and that was that. And then lo and behold, when the time was right, when I really started being my true self, my good friend Aaron Dowdy knocked on my door. Not my physical door, but he sent me an email, and then we got on the phone and talked. And then from there, ever since, we've been thick as thieves. It came when I finally let go of the false relationships, the phony ones, the shallow ones, and allowed myself to endure the sting of that loneliness for some time. So I feel like there was a time period needed for me to really find out who I am. Who am I really? If I'm just pretending and playing this character that I was playing my whole life, what do you think I'm going to attract? These relationships that are sort of shallow, right? I had to find out who I really was, and I did. And once I started to be my true self, and for me that looked like, sharing on YouTube and living in the RV and doing all this crazy shit that I was putting off because I thought it was weird, I started doing it. And sure enough, Aaron thought it was cool and cool enough to reach out to me. And it's not that we're just close friends. It's like we're brothers. It's like we are so close and we are so real around each other. There's no facade. There's no pretense. There's no act at all, ever. And man, it's so liberating. And I never thought it would happen. And it's not just with him. It's with other people. I've had many cool people start to come into my life. And you will as well, if you relate with this loneliness. The loneliness is important. Most people never create the space to really go inward long enough to find out who they truly are. And then you can't expect to attract real, authentic relationships if you don't even know who you are. But once you find out who you are and start being who you are, even though, you'll probably push even more. Some people will be pushed away from that, maybe, yeah. And there might be a lull, some loneliness, but eventually, my friend, I promise you, through some kind of unexplainable phenomenon of energies attracting like energies, you'll start to pull to you the people you're meant to go through life with, your soul family. And you'll know them when you see them and talk to them. You'll feel it. You'll feel a familiarity with these people. You'll feel a love. I feel a genuine love that you don't even understand. I just met this person. How could I love them? But I do. It's real. So be patient, my friend, if you relate with the loneliness. You might also have a strong desire to vacate the planet. You might wonder, why did I even bother coming here? This planet is crazy. The people are even crazier. It's dark. It's heavy. Stooped in negativity. So many unconscious people. So many controlling systems. And you're like, why would anybody want to come here? I went through a phase like that when I was really into studying extraterrestrials and things like that, and starting to really get the sense that maybe I relate with them in a way, like I have a connection with them. And I was like, well, if that's the case, I'd rather go back. I haven't had an experience a long time ago when I had like almost like a near-death experience, you could say, where I was able to get a little glimpse of the other side. And it was awesome. I won't lie. It was badass. It was full of love. It was way better than here. And for a time, I secretly wanted just to go back. And a lot of people reach out to me. They're feeling alone. They're feeling like nobody really sees who they are. They can't be themselves. They know they've come here with some type of purpose. They don't know what that is yet. And they're going through all these different awakening symptoms, all these different healing crises that just sort of are thrust upon them at random, at always inconvenient times. And they're thinking, man, this sucks. I don't want to be here. Hang in there, my friend, because there's more to the story. There's a reason you're here. This is part of it. But you ain't dead yet. There's a lot more to life, I promise you. And that'll lead me into the next one. This next point is very important. It's that you have a sense of purpose. You really are heavily invested in finding your purpose, your life purpose, your soul's purpose. You know you have one, and you know it's why you came. And you also probably sense that if you find it, you can somehow find it and start doing it, you will find happiness. You will find peace. You will feel good. And you will. But it's hard to find, right? It drove me crazy, this purpose-seeking journey. And there was many times I thought I found it. And I thought, okay, thank God. The search is over. I can relax my mind and sort of sail off into the sunset, singing my song. And then you do that for a couple of weeks. And then it's like, ooh. You start to see the whole thing differently and realize, this also is not my purpose. Damn it. Back to the drawing board, back to floating down the river of the unknown, aimlessly, lost and alone, until something else piques your interest and you start doing that. And you're like, okay, this freaking better be it. No, it's not. It can go like that for a time, my friend, and also there's no mistakes. All these different, what seem to be tangents are learning lessons, are helping you get more and more clear. You always learn something from them. Is that correct? And what you'll also find is when you finally start doing your thing, you'll be able to pull from all these other tangent non-purposes that you thought were your purpose. They all kind of have a place. And then you get to really experience the awesomeness of why you did choose to come here. Once you really find your purpose, once you start living it, sharing it, everything begins to kick ass in life and expand. You start attracting the cool soulmate friendships, relationships, lovers. You start attracting opportunities. You start aligning your career and lifestyle with something you love to do, you love to share. You get to go to bed every night knowing you're making a difference in the world, and that will give you a sense of satisfaction and completeness and wholeness that you have been craving. So don't quit trying to find your purpose. And also, I can tell you from kind of going down this path a little bit, I wouldn't even look at it like your purpose being this one thing, this one soul mission you forgot and got to find again. It's not that simple. What I found is that my purpose is living authentically. It's going towards whatever it is at that time in my life that resonates. It could be a person, it could be a situation, an opportunity, a new career maybe. And what I found is my purpose is always changing, but there is a commonality. I'm living authentically. I'm doing what I know I should do. And there's this feeling of alignment with the universe, I would say. And if I'm doing that, I'm fulfilling my purpose, and I can feel that, and it feels really, really good. So a little tip, word of the wise, don't try so hard to find your purpose. It might not be what you think. You might already have found it and just not know it. A lot of light workers have experienced many challenges earlier in life that you've somehow overcome. And now it's given you kind of a depth of like wisdom, empathy, etc., that will serve you when you really start coming into your own. For me, when I was younger, I had a lot of shit actually. When I was 9, I was randomly hit by this huge firecracker, not a little bottle rocket. No, I'm talking a big illegal firework that goes up in the air and explodes, probably a 20-foot freaking radius of light. It tipped over after it was lit and it shot at yours truly. This innocent kid watching a show, and it's traumatic. And I somehow came out okay. Little weird. No, just kidding. I came out of it okay. A little bit. Let's say that eventually led me to becoming a drug addict. I became a down and out heroin junkie. And somehow I made it out of that at a very early age. Most people that I was down and out with are either dead or in jail or still caught up in this misery of addiction. And I somehow was in, got out, and lived to tell about it. You probably have something like that. And I think we go through that because it gives us something, honestly. I had this epiphany a little while back when I was doing this it's called somatic release breathwork. It's a real powerful breathwork ceremony. You may have had mine. In fact, I'll leave a link down below. I always give it away for free. It's a badass healing ceremony. But anyway, I was doing this breathwork ceremony, and what was coming up for me, it brings up old stuff. What was coming up for me is like the anger I had about getting hit by a firecracker. I realized there's a part of my inner child that was like freaking pissed. Like, this is some bullshit. What the fuck? That kind of thing. And I was like, yelling. That's what you do in the breath work. You yell these energies out or cry or whatever. But anyway, as this was all happening, I had this like heightened intuition that the almost like the impact of that firework is like directly related to the passion, the fire, the creative energy that I tap into when I'm sharing a YouTube video or coaching or running a retreat or doing any of the things I do now that help people, that heal people, that uplift people. It was sort of given to me in an albeit very roundabout way through that firework incident. And your trauma, your challenges, if you choose to look at it that way, you might start to see how it's helped you, how it's given you something extra. Even being an addict. I remember when I was an addict, as an example, when you're like in rehab, I've been in many of them, for the record, 6 of them to be exact, 7 actually. There is usually 2 types of counselors. The types of counselors who maybe don't have like the best credentials, maybe don't look too healthy and they've been through some shit. They're the former addicts, the former alcoholics. And then there's the doctors, the PhDs, oftentimes people who have no real experience with addiction, but they have the knowledge, they have the experience, they have a very fancy degree, right? Well, guess who? Who do you think the addicts prefer to learn from? I couldn't stand someone trying to tell me what I should do with my life when I could tell they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know what it's like. But I remember this one dude, Dwight, he was like a crackhead his whole life, this really skinny, but real charismatic actually, like dude. And he would give these crazy lectures during rehab, and he would throw chairs across the room. He was so animated, but everybody was like drawn to him like a moth to a flame because you could tell Dwight has been through some stuff and he's here, he's happy, he's alive, he's thriving. He's got something I want. I trusted Dwight. I felt comfortable really being myself around Dwight. And I really believed because I could tell he had been there. If I follow what Dwight says, I'm going to be okay. And I was. So these experiences that give you something, you probably also experience on more than one occasion, ironies, little mini miracles, omens, synchronicities, as the cool kids call them now. Maybe you see the numbers. You see flashing numbers on your clocks like 1111, 111, 123, 7, not 777, obviously for a clock, but you get the idea. You might see these repetitive numbers. You might have these little glitches in reality that are trying to tell you something. You know they're trying to tell you something. They're trying to help wake you up. They're trying to remind you that life is magical. Maybe they're there to reassure you that you're on track. And most light workers have this type of experience. My son, Sebastian, he's 8, and he has deja vu like every 2 days, as an example. That's an example of an uncommon little, again, glitch in reality is the best way I could put it, that makes you wonder, like, how is that even possible? What are the chances? What are the odds that you're thinking of someone's name from your past that you knew 10 years, that you haven't talked to in 10 years, and that same person, ding, sends you a text in that moment. What are the odds? And finally, my friend, you know that the planet, the earth, humanity, in spite of how things might look on the surface, is going through a powerful, significant, unprecedented degree of upliftment, change, transformation. I know a lot of people look out there in the world and they're feeling afraid. They're feeling very skeptical about the climate changes we're going through, the different things going on with the economics, the wars. Some of the characters that somehow find their way into like leadership position. It's like, what? How do I put my trust in this guy? It's crazy out there. Also, the upheaval within people, within your family, within yourself, the darkness that is now making itself known. It's like the skeletons in humanity's closet that were for eons swept under the rug. The lights are turning on in that closet, and we're seeing it, and it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, a lot to transform, a lot to heal, a lot to change. And a lot of people, I think, are getting kind of swallowed up in it, and all this awareness of the true gravity of the circumstance, but not you. Not you. You see it all, and you can understand all that. And there's probably a deep, but very clear part of you that knows it's all happening for a reason. Not just any old reason, but a good reason. It's all part of a bigger process of evolution. But this process isn't something, in my opinion anyway, that's just going to happen. I believe it's a co-creative effort. I believe it takes people, lightworkers, people like you and me, to really follow their heart, follow their calling into the darkness, into the unknown, into themselves at times, in order to really bring forth we can be like these examples of authenticity, these examples of compassion, examples of love, purpose, courage. And then I believe over time, there's this thing called the 100th monkey effect, that people, maybe slowly at first, but eventually it'll start to build, and people will start shining their lights as well. And it'll just create this massive ripple effect of this positive healing, transformation, upliftment. And you can feel it. It's happening now. It's happening through you right now. It's like there's this pressure of light and transformation and darkness all swimming around in this soup, and it's building and building and building and building and building. And you know it's going to eventually turn into a bah! And I think that's why we came, because we want to see what that feels like, what it looks like. We don't know right now, but you want to experience that, right? I know it sounds like crazy talk. Who's this guy and what the hell is he talking about? He's nuts. I get it. I questioned all this myself. But here I am saying it. And here you are listening to it, probably resonating with it on some bizarre level. Maybe there's something to it. I can tell you this. I've been practicing what I just sort of shared with you, being myself, following my calling, etc. And it's made my life awesome. I believe the Lightworkers didn't come here just to suffer as martyrs, but to live an amazing life, to really tap in to the ways of the universe, of manifestation, of reality shifting, things of that nature, healing. The fact that you can heal not only for yourself, but also for your ancestors. It's all stored in your DNA, and it's all coming up to play. It's all coming up to be released, and you are getting lighter and lighter and lighter, more and more and more aligned, more and more authentic with your true self. And then your life begins to kind of manifest from that frequency. Your finances begin to manifest from that frequency. Your relationships, your living situation, the cars you drive, the clothes you wear, the health you have, the happiness and joy you experience, all of it starts to kind of come back to you as you uncover yourself. Lightworker, that's what they do, my friend. And if you're watching this video still, that's apparently what you are. And I hope this video helped you in some way. And I wish you well. I welcome you to my channel. And I thank you for listening. And I wish you well on your path. Much love.